going on, Jeromes? So I understand that no one told you life was going to be this way. The Minnesota Vikings allegedly 2-4, but bright lights, big city, and blah, blah, blah. Kirk Cousins on the Monday night. Do not care. Do not care in the slightest. Vikings without Jefferson are going to take down the Niners, probably without McCaffrey, Debo, and Trent Williams. We'll see what happens with their final practice designations today, but the Vikings going to shock the world. Monday Night Football, right in Joe Buck and Troy Aikman's face, right on Manningcast, and putting the world on notice that the Vikings, brrr, we're back, baby. Yes, and I know the Niners are super tough. Offensively, they're one of the best in the league, even without McCaffrey, Trent Williams, and Debo. And defensively, the defense is top 5, minimum. Probably top 3, maybe not even 3. They're very, very good. But no one points this out. Like the Niners, everyone says, oh, they're the second coming. But they lost in Cleveland. You lost, bro. Even though Cleveland's got themselves a good defense. P.J. Walker, 17th string quarterback, formerly of the XFL. Dake. I mean, they boat raced the Cowboys, yes. They barely outlasted the Rams on the road, even though that was basically a home game for the Niners. Also, I love that was the game that Sean McVay kicked the field goal at the end just so that they could screw up the Niners minus 7.5. But the rest of the games, I mean, you beat the Cardinals, cool. You beat the Giants, cool. And you beat the Steelers. Cool. I mean, a lot of the Niners' schedule, I understand you play who you play, but a lot of the Niners' schedule has been relatively Mickey Mouse. Not saying, I'm just saying. But the Vikings will stand up and be counted, and here are 10 keys for the Vikings to get a win on Monday Night Football. Number 1, don't turn the ball over. That should be an easy one. Actually, there you go. That should be a damn easy one. So, it's so frustrating the way that the Vikings have just let the ball drop, whether fumbles, whether it be literal drops, and it's just tough, man. It's just tough. But the Vikings, 13 giveaways this season. They're 31st in the league. Niners defense, 11 takeaways. So something's got to give. I think the Vikings, if they win the turnover battle, shocker, I think that they will have a puncher's chance on Monday night. Number 2. Akers, hot hand versus at running back. So I understand it's been Madison so far this season, but I mean, Cam Akers, you traded for him for a reason, and he's looked good. And also, Ty Chandler's looked good when you've given him a chance too. But Madison, so far this season, 3.9 yards per carry. Akers, 5.7. And avoiding third and longs, it's going to be important. And the Niners' defense has been stingy, especially against the run. But the Vikings, if they can get something going on first and second down, having play action be viable, and also using play action. Kirk is still one of the best play action quarterbacks in the league. But draining the clock, shortening this game, and keeping the ball away from San Francisco's offense, it's going to be the name of the game. And I don't care that Madison has a contract. Whoever is running the rock well against this supposedly very good Vikings offensive line in terms of the analytics, they got to do something. Next up, number 3, Hockenson earned his money. Where JJ's out. You're it, man. Like, with incentives, you're supposed to be the highest paid tight end in NFL history. Got to start earning that dough. 6 drops since the end of the Chargers game is inexcusable. And also, he's only had over 51 yards. He has not gone over 51 yards in the last 3 games. And especially without JJ, I mean, Hockenson has to be that guy. And it's clear that he and Kirk do have some chemistry, but he's got to be able to secure the ball. He's got to be able to get some yards after the catch. He's got to be able to be that hero, the guy that they paid all that money for. Next up, number 4, speaking of money, Kirko needs to let it rip. Like, I think that the way that the Vikings will lose to the Niners is if they're too conservative. Like, if they let that thing pucker. But they got to take chances. It's got to be YOLO. Like, the Vikings absolutely need to hit this thing on the head. And I understand the frustration with Kirko check down, right? And yes, on 3rd and 20, where do you think the defenders are lined up? But Kirk's got to take a chance downfield. And whether that's throwing in tight windows to Addison or KJ, they got to win. And same thing with Hockenson. They got to win. They got to come down with the ball. And you're not going to beat the Niners by dinking and dunking them to death. You got to take shots downfield. Try to let your guys win in those deep windows, and then try and bust a big play and loosen things up front. Next up, number 5. 3rd down and red zone. So Vikings 3rd down red zone offense has struggled pretty mightily. They're 24th in the league on 3rd down. They're 20th in red zone, and it's been a struggle. And the Niners are actually about middle of the table in both those categories. But the key to third down is they have to get it to third and manageable. All right, so first down has to be positive. You can't be staring down at 2nd and 10s all day against this Niners defense, even at home. And once you get in the red zone, you got to put it in. You got to take chances. You can't be settling for field goals against San Francisco. Can't do that. On the other side of the ball, the Niners offense is also 4th in red zone. Now, that is with McCaffrey and Williams and Debo at full strength, so we'll see what happens there. Next up, number 6. Block Joey Bosa's brother, right? So Nick Bosa held out. He got the bag and blah, 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 all that stuff. But, I mean, he's still proven that he's one of the best edge rushers in the game. 29 pressures, 2.5 sacks. Darisaw and O'Neal have to bring their lunch pails. Bosa lines up on both sides. And the rest of the Niners defensive line ain't nothing to sneeze at either. I mean, Javon Hargrave come over from the Eagles. Signed with the Niners. Nailed it. He's got 3 sacks leading the team, and overall the front 7 is extremely stout up front. And the Vikings offensive line is supposedly so good by all the analytics, they got to prove it. They got to be able to run the ball, and they got to be able to keep Kirk Cousins clean. Next up, number 7, defensively, he's the 8 in the box. Even without McCaffrey, the Niners are going to want to run the ball. The Niners are 3rd in rushing right now with 890 yards, 2nd in rushing touchdowns at 7, the 3rd in the league in attempts. And even without McCaffrey, or even if McCaffrey's out there and he's 10% of what he usually is, they got to stop the run. Whether it's Jordan Mason, whether it's Elijah Mitchell, whether it's whoever, if you stop the run and make Brock Purdy beat you, that's how you're going to win. Next up, number 8, make Purdy throw downfield. So, along with 8 in the box, along with disguising and confusing things up front for Flores. Like, Flores, he's got an extra day to plan this out, and this could be his masterpiece, man, making the presumptive NFC favorites look like chumps on Monday Night Football. And Purdy's ADOT is 8.2, around middle of the table in the league, and he is a dink and dunk king. And don't take anything from him. He's very efficient in what he wants to do, and Shanahan has basically made this offense quarterback proof. But I mean, no McCaffrey, no Debo. It certainly makes things difficult, but you have to take away everything underneath. That's why you got to stack the box. You got to stack the shallow zones and make sure that he doesn't have anything easy. You have to make him look downfield, and if he beats you, he beats you. Whatever happens, happens. But I like the chances that the Vikings have if they stack the box against the run and take away everything underneath from Purdy. And you'll force him to hit those corners with Ayuk or Kittle or whatever. Just make him try and hit those deep windows, and I think the Vikings will have a chance to come up with a meatball or two. Next up, number 9. We after that ass. That's right. With any quarterback, got to pressure him. And Purdy is not like a mobile quarterback. And also, if Trent Williams is out or dinged up, Vikings can certainly make some hay there. Also, the entire Aaron Banks should be in there, but he's been sort of ass thank you this season. Buford is whatever. Brendel is whatever. Colton McKivitz, who replaced Mike McGlinchey, who left in free agency for the Broncos, he's been the spot. 4 sacks and 11 pressures allowed at right tackle. So you can get to him. You can get to him. And also, U.S. Bank Stadium needs to be loud and proud, and Danielle Hunter needs to get after it. Same thing with Wanham. Same thing with the rest of that pass rush, man. We need to get after 13. Lastly, again, one big special teams play. And I understand, hey, fake punt, cool, awesome. We need more. Well, it's a fake punt, a blocked punt, a blocked field goal, a whatever, a big-time return. King Kene looks to be back on Monday night. Either way, they need one big-time play in the third phase, steal a possession, steal 2, and then go from there, man. I think the Vikings do have a puncher's chance on Monday night. Next, finally, final score prediction. Woosah. It's a thing where the Niners are good, but I don't think they're as good as everyone hypes them up to be, especially with the injuries. And the Vikings, a lot of people think that they're bad, but Vikings obviously are not as bad as everyone makes them out to be. So I think everything comes to a head, and I think that this is a statement win for the Vikings. The Niners are reeling after that Browns game. Obviously, they're pissed off, but they're dinged up, and U.S. Bank Stadium's crowd is going to be loud. It's going to be proud. They're going to get after it, and the Vikings and Flores' defense will put Birdie in a blender, and I think the offense will actually get something done on the ground, as well as Kirky's going to let it fly. Vikings win. A tough, hard-fought win. Maybe Greg Joseph right at the buzzer. Vikings win 22-20. Woo, woo. Take that. Move to 3-4. The best 3-4 team in NFL history. There we go. But that's it. That's 10 keys for the Vikings to get a win on Monday night. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.